Westmoreland. I am an ISC registered level 3 immigration advisor, and I am senior immigration lawyer at GSN Immigration. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the bell icon so you can continue to watch our extremely interesting videos about UK visa and immigration advice. Today's topic is English language requirement and English language tests for migrants who come to the UK or want to stay in the UK or indeed want to achieve British citizenship. In most cases, for most people, there is an English language requirement. Not always, but for most people, most of the time. People applying for visas, people applying for settlement, people applying for British citizenship. The lucky ones escape, but most people don't. And there are different ways of satisfying English language requirements. Let me put it to you in a brief sort of way. Some visa applications, there is no English language requirement. I will give you some examples. UK Ancestry Visa, for one reason or not, there is no English language requirement. Temporary worker visas, there is no English language requirement. Adult dependent relative, no English language requirement. Visitor, no English language requirement. Those who apply for asylum protection, none. Those who apply for settlement on the basis of domestic abuse, no requirement. Those who apply for settlement as bereaved partner, there isn't. But for those that there is a requirement, there are some very different ways of satisfying it. Some are easier than others. Let me say, for example, if you hold a UK degree, you satisfy the English language requirement already. If you hold a degree taught in English, not from the UK, and that degree can be certified by an organisation called ECTIS, that it's a good, proper degree that meets the relevant requirements, that will satisfy the requirement. If you're lucky enough to be a national of a majority English-speaking country, as defined in a certain list by the Home Office, very easy, you satisfy the English language requirement, no problem. More complicatedly, and this is what this vlog is mostly about, you can pass an English language test. Before we jump onto that, let me be very clear about something. English language requirement is different from the Life in the UK test. Life in the UK test is something about British culture. It's something different and separate. You may have to satisfy that for your settlement or British citizenship application, as well as English language requirement. This vlog is not about the Life in the UK test. It's just about English language requirement. This is where it gets slightly more complicated. English language tests. There's a list published by the Home Office of those bodies which are authorised to conduct and hold and supervise these tests. I will tell you the list. It's a fairly short one. Pearson, Trinity College London, IELTS CELT Consortium, Language Cert, PSI Services UK Limited. These organisations are entitled to set and mark these exams. These 5 different organisations are entitled to set these exams and indeed mark these exams. Okay, only these organisations can award the qualification. Qualifications are based around what is called the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages, CEFR. This is the official system, and within that there are different grades. Some of the exams are more difficult than others. The lowest grades begin with an A, the highest grades begin with a C. So you get A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. Depending on what kind of visa you're applying for, you have to pass a lower grade or a higher grade. This does get rather complicated, but let me give you the basic ideas. First of all, there are two different types of exam. One type of exam is more involved, more difficult probably. You have to pass reading, writing, speaking and listening component. And of course, like everything else, if you take this type of exam, you have to pass in every component. Passing in 2 or 3 with a really good mark isn't good enough. You have to pass every 4 component. Certain types of visa require this. I will give you a few examples. Skilled worker visa, they must pass the 4 components. In this case, up to B1 level. Innovator founder visa, they must pass all 4 components. In this case, up to B2, which is a bit higher. Student as well, could be either B1 or B2, depending. Interesting thing, certain types of visa applicant, they only have to pass speaking and listening, which should be a bit easier, most presumably. Partner or parent could be either A1 or A2, but the rules are slightly complicated because the initial application could be just A1, an extension application could be A2, settlement, indefinitely to remain, only speaking and listening B1, citizenship, speaking and listening only B1. That's the way that it works. These exams, they last for 2 years. If you pass this test, it lasts for 2 years. After 2 years and you want to use it again, you'd have to renew it. I've made it a bit, sounds quite complicated, Mr. Shaw. I'm sure you're going to ask some questions to elucidate a few important aspects.
Yes, thank you so much for talking about this topic today, because a lot of clients do find it very complicated to work out if they do need an English exam and which one it may be that they need. You mentioned something about someone having an overseas qualification in order to satisfy the English language
overseas
requirement.
degree qualification.
Degree qualification. And I understand there is this organization called ACTIS.
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 In the old days, before Brexit, we had it was called UK NARIC, but that was part of the European scheme. Now Brexit has happened, and it's now ACTIS, which is a more purely British organisation.
Perfect. Would I be correct in assuming the reports from the both organizations are acceptable?
Yes.
So if someone had done a UK
Yes.
NARIC before
Yes.
ACTIS came into place, it's still fine?
Yes.
And are these reports forever?
Yeah, until you die.
Okay. All right. And
sorry, guys. English sense of humour.
Great. And some people would want to do the test because they may not have the degree or don't want to go through the degree route. If they fail,
you wouldn't want to get a degree for that reason. It wouldn't be a strong enough reason. I mean, the test is easier than a degree. It's a bit shorter, I should imagine.
It is indeed. If someone fails in the exam, is there any limit on how many reattempts they can have?
No.
Okay, brilliant. So as long as they pass the exam, that's the one that will count?
Yes, but it lasts for 2 years only.
Brilliant. So if someone has come to the UK on a fiancé visa and they have done A1 English language test,
or proposed civil partner visa, which is the same thing,
or proposing civil partner visa, can they use the same A1 for spouse visa inside the UK?
Yes, but if things go well, the relationship works out good and everything, at some point in about 2.5 years' time, they want to extend their spouse or civil partner leave, they must then have upgraded themselves to A2.
Brilliant. Perfect. So as their immigration journey progresses in the UK, so does the English language requirement?
Well, up to a certain point, and when they apply for settlement, it's B1.
And that's the end of it?
Well, hopefully.
Great. So for an immigration application, they don't need to do higher than that, basically.
Well, settlement is the ultimate visa status. B1 is as much as you need to get. If they apply for British citizenship, it's still B1.
Brilliant.
As long as it's within 2 years, it will still last, but it might not be. It might have expired because, well, you never know, do you? If it's more than 2 years, people can wait it will have expired. But if it hasn't expired, then you can use it again for your British citizenship application.
Sure. I understand you mentioned some nationalities are exempt from
Yes.
meeting the English language
Yes,
requirement. So
this is a very interesting list that the Home Office has made of the countries in the world that they consider to be majority English speaking. You know, let's take places India, Pakistan. Most people speak English, but they're not majority English speaking, and that's not good enough. Places that I know, Philippines, everyone speaks English, but it's not a majority language. The Home Office has made this list. If a country does not qualify as a majority English speaking country, it's not on the list, and they have to take the test. Interesting fact, the only country in mainland Europe, EEA, that the Home Office says is majority English speaking is Malta. Any other country in mainland Europe, EEA, is not a majority English speaking country. Home Office says Malta is. So all the other ones, they have to get the English language requirement one way or another. The Maltese do not.
wow.
And of course
Good
the
for them.
Irish don't, because the Irish don't need any visas anyway, do they?
True. There is new law comes into place that allows Irish citizens to also obtain British nationality. We'll talk about this in another vlog. I understand the exemption based on nationality. I understand there are exemptions based on medical grounds and age.
Yeah, you're very correct. And age is easy. If you're 65, you don't have to, you're exempt. Simple as that. Medical grounds, it's a bit more difficult because you have to prove it with proper evidence from a medical practitioner. If a medical practitioner can say that because of your medical condition, probably because of your mental health condition, that you're not up to taking an exam, you don't have the mental equipment and what it takes to do it, you can get a good medical evidence from your qualified medical practitioner, you can escape from the requirement for the English language requirement. But I mean, the evidence has to be good, some strong, compelling.
Sure. Well, this is great. What we will do is put the list of the nationalities
Yes.
which are exempt from taking the English language test. In
Some
the
people
video
may get a few
description.
shocks.
Yes, true, possible. And I would like to thank you for today's vlog, and we see you in the next one.
Yeah, my pleasure. See you again soon.